I see my dog shaking on the couch and my cat growling behind it.
Oh,
All
jeez.
right.
Oh, jeez.
And what do we know
Yeah.
about animals can sense things more than us humans can?
Welcome to the Fictitious Dark, where we explore the lines between truth and the fictitious. And today we're reading a story off of the True Scary Stories subreddit. And this story is posted by a user who deleted their account. Um,
Ooh,
does that make it more spooky? Maybe.
maybe.
I'm not sure.
We
My
will
name's
see.
Brandon, though, and this is this is not Josiah. This is Rick.
Yeah,
Uh,
dude,
I'm just
what the
used
hell?
to Josiah like introducing us or whatever. Uh, but this story is titled "Not My Mother." I have not read ahead on this, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. I don't know if this is going for like a little skinwalker thing or like a weird ghosty thing. I'm not sure.
I'm
But
excited to see where it goes.
this is on the true story, true scary story thing. So we're just gonna say it's a true scary story, and we're gonna believe every word they say. All right, let's get into it. So this story happened about 11 years ago. I was a senior in high school at the time, but it is the single most mind-boggling thing that I have ever experienced. It's also important to note that it happened in mid-December. I am from Iowa, and winters here get cold at night, like if you get stuck outside, you will die kind of cold. That plus the snowflakes makes everything dead silent. You can hear anything and everything inside the house and even immediately outside of it. Well, me and my best friend were hanging out in my family's walkout basement, just having a boring winter night, playing video games, and we were also the only ones home. The reason it was just us is because my mother went from work straight to a bar to grab a few drinks with coworkers. So me and my friend thought it would be a good idea to break into the family wine and live a little.
Ooh.
Bum bum bum. Underage drinking.
Both
Bad.
both mother and child getting a few drinks in.
Yeah, I guess so.
Mom's a good influence, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, I'll continue here. As we were sitting there opening up the first bottle, I hear the door to the garage open and slam shut. I immediately go, "Oh shit," and start looking for places to hide the bottle. My friend then says, "I thought you said your mom was supposed to be out all night." "She was," I replied, and then I heard a few heavy stomps and hear my mother yell out loud, "Meows and boo. Anyone home?" I yell back up the stairs, "Yup, just hanging out in the basement." I hear a few more steps move from the garage door towards the stairs, and she yells out again, "Can you come help me with something? I need you up here." I reply back while frantically trying to find a good place to hide the wine bottle, "Yup, just give me a minute." Then there was silence for about 20 seconds. "Anyone down there with you?" she yelled back in a more concerned, serious tone, in a voice that slightly off of my mother's. This was the first thing that told me something wasn't right. Our family never cared if anyone was over, as our house was a very open house to all family and friends. And the voice, it was just wrong. Like it sounded like my mother's, but it was missing something I couldn't put my finger on. Weirded out, I reply back, "Just Colton." After I yelled back to her, I found a good place to hide the bottle and begun walking up the stairs to the next level. Ooh,
Okay.
that seems pretty interesting so far.
Yeah, so you already got a couple little things of like knowing something's off. Um,
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Now, as I was walking up the steps, I couldn't help but feel The overbearing silence of the house, and the slight electric twinge that something isn't right. When I got to the top of the steps, I look over to where the door to garage, not the door to garage, is, and also the kitchen right next to it. And it's black, pitch black. All if the lights were off and there was no moonlight shining through any windows. I walked over to the kitchen yelling out, "Mom, where are you?" There was no reply, just silence and darkness. I feel the electric twinge turn into full needles and my adrenaline kicking in full force. I have to get out of here as fast as possible. My mother was not home.
Whoa, that's kind of crazy.
Okay. Yeah.
You'd expect like at least moonlight to show through the windows, and if it's pitch black, maybe curtains got pulled. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, for him to point that out, it's like that's definitely out of the norm. So it's like, as SpongeBob would say, advanced darkness. So, yeah, no, that's creepy.
Yeah,
Okay.
especially since the first thing you do when you get home is turn on all the lights. Usually.
Also true. Yeah, she's just
Yeah.
chilling up there, not turning on any lights. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. All right. Well, let's continue. I run back down the stairs, grabbing my coat along the way. What's wrong? Colton says. My mom's not home. I reply as fast as I can, looking for my truck keys. What do you mean? You were just talking with her. I could see the confusion in his face. There's no one home. We need to leave now. I took a few steps towards the back door that opens up to the yard, and then I see my dog shaking on the couch and my cat growling behind it.
Oh, jeez.
All right.
Oh, jeez.
And what do we know
Yeah.
about animals can sense things,
Mm-hmm.
more than us humans can, and they can sense like almost like that almost next layer of like what do we call it? Next layer of like almost like a dimension, that
Mm-hmm.
we can't see,
Yeah.
you know. So there's something going on.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely spooky. Okay, so I couldn't leave them. I just knew that if we left, something would happen. Are we leaving? Colton said, still confused as all hell. No, I can't leave them here alone. Something is really off. I'm going to call my mom and figure this out. I pull out my phone and call my mom. She picks up immediately. Meows and Boo, what's going on? What is the Meows and Boo thing?
Must be like a almost like a way that they like greet each other, I'm guessing.
Yeah. She answers, Mom, were you just home? I heard you yelling for me from the second level, and when I went up, you weren't there. I said frantically, hoping that she was playing a joke. No, I'm just leaving the bar. I wasn't feeling very well. Are you okay? What do you mean you heard me? I fill her in on the whole story and she rushes home. Cole and I stayed in the basement with the animals until she got home. But before she did, you could hear something upstairs, not walking or sitting on things, but a pressure in the air, like a black hole was slowly moving from one room to the next. And the word that I would instinctively describe it as is hungry. What?
What?
Huh. What a weird experience. Okay.
Yeah. It's almost like some like poltergeist that's looking to feed on energy in a sense.
Yeah.
It,
That's
it almost like a succubus in a sense too.
yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Like yeah, cuz it's like almost like it's like a repeat of like a place in time which is um there's a word for that.
Like a deja vu.
No, there's a it's like a specific type of haunting. Let
It
me.
reminds me of the Matrix, when they walk by and
Mm-hmm.
they see the cat again. The
Mm-hmm.
glitch in the
Yeah,
Matrix.
exactly. Type of haunting history repeating.
Yeah, because the only thing I can think of is like some kind of mimic
Residual haunting. That's what
residual
that's
haunting.
called. So a residual haunting is that is a moment in time that repeats. So like people who encounter something where like a Civil War soldier, they see him like walking across their yard, and it's like, but then he doesn't necessarily interact with anybody. That would be classified as a residual haunting because it's like something from the past that is like repeating.
Okay.
So like the Matrix.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Glitch in the
So
Matrix.
so it's got like a little bit of that vibe. However, I as far as I know, I think it was residual hauntings. They don't typically interact with people. I could be wrong on that. Maybe there are some cases where they do. Um, but yeah, maybe.
Maybe it wasn't responding or reacting because the author did say that their house was a kind of open house, so it could have maybe been just a coincidence of the, residual haunting just kind of repeating something that was been asked in the past.
Mm-hmm, it's true. Yeah.
After she asked, who's down there, she said Colton, and then there's nothing left. There's
Yeah.
like no repeat or continuance of, dialogue between the two.
Yeah, because that maybe wasn't necessarily even a back and forth. That was just those were the things that it was saying.
Yeah.
Or you got Skinwalker Ghost. Yeah, no, that's weird. Let's continue it though.
All right. When she got home, you could feel the thing leave just as quick as it came, like an overbearing predator presence had just flown away. We still have never figured out what the hell was going on, and this is just one of the many unexplainable things that have happened to us. But this is the easiest to write down and the one I was happy to have witnessed. Happy to witness that?
Hmm. Yeah.
I
Uh,
would like to hear the other stories this person has,
yeah,
and how creepy
exactly.
they are, because this is pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like one of those things that I don't think I've heard many people have like this type of experience, or it's not a very common experience.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. All right, at the very end of the story, it's just a little bit, so I'll just read that real quick.
Yeah.
My mother has passed away now, and I have moved away to Arizona. But whenever I go back to Iowa and I see Colton, he still gets creeped out by what had happened. I will never truly know what happened, but I know that whatever it was, that it had my mother's voice, and it was evil, and it was hungry. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that could be like a a demon, I guess you could say, that
Yeah.
was like coming in trying to do something, and that was the means which it chose, or something like that. I don't
hmm
know. Um, yeah.
I feel like this is like similar to something I just can't put my finger on.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we've talked about it in the past. I just can't put my finger on it.
Yeah. I don't know. That's yeah, because especially so the fact that he said like it entered the house, he heard like noises, like someone got home, making all these noises, saying things, yada yada, but then also left when his mother got home. That doesn't sound like something that was just already in the house. That it was something that was dormant. It does very well sound like something that came in and then left. Like it was, like he said, it was a predator looking for whatever it was. Maybe some type
Yeah.
of energy. I don't know. I don't even know how to
Yeah, it's
describe what its
yeah,
purpose
I'm still
was.
like I'm like trying to like kind of like process everything because it's crazy. Like, it's almost like a if it was like some sort of demon that like was able to like mimic the noise and the voice that the mom had. It knew exactly how the mom talked
Mm-hmm.
and the whole meowsaboo thing.
Yeah,
So
no, exactly. Yeah. So it's
thing is
like
like
it, it was watching or something like that.
yeah, it's almost like it was like some kind of like predator that had been watching and was ready to you know almost in a sense strike at them when she went upstairs.
Yeah.
And but it didn't want to come out of the darkness. It wanted to stay in the darkness because it never came downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Then as soon as the mom got home, and when the mom got home, she turned on all the lights. It kind of probably scared away this figure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's weird.
And it didn't really seem like from like reading it, the figure had like a physical presence because besides opening the door, because it didn't say like you know walking around or stomp, or it did say stomps, few heavy
No,
stomps
yeah,
here.
so there was that, but then like
After that,
when they came to the resolve that this something is wrong, we're gonna stay down here the whole time. There was weird pressure sounds.
yeah,
Um, so that's interesting. So that's
yeah,
not a like a
because it did
being.
say she could hear something upstairs, but it wasn't walking or sitting on things, but a pressure.
Yeah, yeah, that's strange. I mean, like, okay, so here's a thought. This isn't based on anything factual. It's just an idea. So let's say, as far as like, especially the idea of residual hauntings, that there is some sort of residual imprint that we leave on this world or whatever. So it's just like there and it lays dormant of I don't know what some kind of energy or whatever. So there's these memory imprints and that's kind of stuff that's just there.
Mm.
And then this malicious whatever entity that's made up of bad energy or whatever was just coming through and so it didn't even need to necessarily be watching them or know anything, just the fact it was around and it was giving off its own energy and it was tapping into that residual energy that it was already there. It was making it act up. It was making it make vocalizations and disembodied voices. So it wasn't necessarily that uh, entity was pretending to be that. It was tapping into the residual energy that was already there and was making vocalizations through that. It wasn't like it was a conscious thought of like I'm gonna do it like this. It was just tapping into what was already there. So maybe it didn't actually know anything as far as like what to call him and specific words. It was just tapping into what was at its disposal in that moment.
Mhm. So there's probably some kind of like doorway already open that it probably came through,
Yeah.
and it was attracted by the residual energy that it probably fed on,
Yeah.
and that wasn't enough. So it probably wanted to go after humans, which were just full of energy
Mm-hmm.
that we found. You know, so it was probably looking for a bigger snack, but it just never got the chance to have it.
So like an energy vampire or
Yeah.
like energy and stuff like that is its domain. That's how it operates. So
She did say that that she could feel like a black hole, like it was sucking energy out. You
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. That's creepy. I don't
Yeah.
even know what to make
Yeah.
of that. Hmm. There
There
is.
is a. Well,
Were
You're
you
probably
gonna
going to say what
were
you
you gonna
say.
bring up the comment, the top
Yeah,
comment?
yeah,
Yeah. You want to read it? Or you want me to read it?
yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is a top comment that someone had that got a bunch of upvotes. So it's, I had a similar experience a few years ago. I was living in an apartment with my husband, 2-year-old daughter, and our cats. My husband had left for work, and I was packing the diaper bag in the kitchen with my daughter. I had heard movements towards our bedroom and thought maybe my husband had stepped back in and I was paying attention when I was paying attention. And then heard my husband say, babe, which is odd because he never calls me that. My daughter starts to run to our room to him, so I grab her in my arm and yell back, what? With a response of, babe, come here. Our cats were in the hallway towards our bedroom and their hackles raised and tails poofed. The entire place felt bad. My daughter and I stayed out until my husband got home from work. Ooh, that's creepy.
Yeah.
Hmm. That's Okay, so the interesting thing about that is that's not just a residual thing because she said it was saying stuff in his voice that he doesn't say.
Yeah.
So it's more than that. So that one is definitely more malicious
Mm-hmm.
and intelligent too.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
It had the voice, but it didn't have like the same wording and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. And then I guess that does also make me think of the main story that kind of, I guess, makes my little quick theory not a good theory, is that he pointed out that, like, it sounded like his mom, but also didn't sound like his mom.
Yeah.
So that does kind of tell you it is something pretending to be the individual.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, Skinwalker demons.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of the Poltergeist movie too.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's like a classic thing as well, as far as like a lot of scary movies that do it's pretending to be a loved one and like
Yeah.
and whatnot. And yeah, it's super creepy with the comment of like the 2-year-old daughter is like, I heard my dad's voice and starts running
Yeah.
towards it. It's like, nah, stop it.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with the cats. Same
Yeah.
reaction.
And then same thing that, something felt bad and felt off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's spooky.
Yeah. And then there's another comment that I just saw down here too. It's this person says, I used to live in this old house that had the same issues. I've never felt anything sinister about it, but I would hear my mom come home and speak to her just to find out she wasn't there. I always just assumed it was my mind playing tricks on me. The way your story sounds, though, definitely was a little creepier.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. And then further down, there's a person that says, I think there's a type of cryptid that mimics the voice of someone you trust to lure you in. But I thought it only lived in the woods, but a lot of people have stories like these in their own home.
That is a good point. Yeah, because there's all sorts of stuff with like hearing a voice, as it this is skinwalkers or wendigos. I forget which one it is. The idea, I've never heard of this actually being like a legit thing, more of a fictitious thing of just ooh spooky. If you hear the voice close, that means it's far, and if you hear it far, that means it's close.
Yeah.
And it's like
That was a skinwalker.
that's a skinwalker. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then it's usually like pretending to be like a hurt person or something like that, like help me, like that kind of stuff. So it's like if you hear like a random like help me in the middle of the woods, like don't. So yeah, it is along those lines. There's another comment of someone saying they had a similar experience. I don't know if this person actually tells a little story or if he's just kind of talking about it. I'll just read it real quick. I have experienced a lot of supernatural things from the day I was born as to today, and all my family members have a history with the unexplained things. What happened with your mom has happened to me and my sister. A lot of times, one time in our old house, first house, we would hear the sound of our drunk father that came late at night. We would hear the sound of keys, the sound of the door open and close, and every time he would come, we okay, this is the way he wrote this out is weird. Every time he would come, we were okay. They pretend they were asleep. He was abusive, so we wouldn't talk. So he wouldn't talk to us. Okay, yeah, this person. But one time we heard him, except he didn't. Oh, jeez. He didn't come home. After a while, we got up and look around the house. No one was there except us. As another time until now, I hear my mother come home. I hear her car, her footsteps, the door, her voice, but nothing. What I wrote is the most similar experience I have lived to. Your story, I have 1,000 stories from me and my family members. It doesn't help. You can sense and predict the future or what it feels. Others feel I am. Jeez, man, this person doesn't know how to type. People being sensitive in their family. Uh, English isn't my first language. Okay, there we go. That makes sense. Okay, I forgive you, Zleen. But okay, yeah. So different experiences of hearing that person hearing their parents, not necessarily in a malicious way as far as them not being there at the times, but hearing them come home and nobody being there. Um, yeah.
Yeah. There's another person down there that says, "Damn, I read this last night. I still can't uh, stop thinking about it. Sounds like an evil entity called a mimic. I've read a lot of stories of these pretending to be loved ones and speaking, but something is always off. You were so lucky your friend was home with you, and who knows what it would have dragged you away, never to be seen again. Very, very scary."
Hmm.
So, a mimic.
A mimic. Okay, yeah. I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've just, I've never really looked into it too much because that is a pretty straightforward thing. But
Yeah.
spooky.
Yeah.
There's
There's
another
another person
comment.
talking about skinwalkers later on.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay, there's another one here that has a little bit of a story. I heard this from someone before. They said that never follow or go near a voice that is calling you when you know you're alone. I know saying this weirdly, but hear me out. When I was younger, lived in Malaysia, crappy old. Oh, Malaysia, crappy old apartments. My sister was at school most of the day. I would get off school at like 12 p.m., but my okay, yeah, another more English reading fun work. So she would leave at different times. But I remember this one time afternoon shift left at 1, and I was all alone until my sister came home from school at 4 p.m. I used to stay home alone. Yeah, I was scared sometimes, but I knew that God was with me, and I felt alone under some time pass. I heard my mom calling me. It was coming out of the hallway leading up to the front door. It was unusually loud. I remember I opened the door, but it did not get out the gate. The apartment door was behind a metal gate. I remember I was looking for my mom, but she never came. Several times after that, whenever I was alone, I heard my sister and my mom's voice calling, but I didn't go near the voice. My mind kind of knew that nothing was there. Few years later, maybe 2, when my mother's friends came over and we were talking about random stuff, I remember opening up about the ghost stuff, and all of a sudden she said to never go near a random voice calling you. She said that it is a spirit calling you, and the spirit will use the voice of the person you love the most to call you. This freaked the hell out of me. I was scared, but I hold myself from breaking for years. I heard the voices when I was alone, but I knew not to go near. Well, now I'm 18. I don't nearly hear these things anymore. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So, yeah, don't go near the spooky voices that like to call your name and pretend to be a loved one.
Yeah.
Moral of the story.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The mimic thing, we might have to check in and do maybe another short video about it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
So mimic demons. Ooh, creepy. Definitely skinwalkery. Skinwalker ghosts. Look at that. Hmm. Any other thoughts on that?
Um, no, I've never like even like heard of anything like that until now.
Yeah.
It's it's something that, like puts in perspective that, you live in this small little place and there's so much else going on in the world that is freaky.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then the fact that this user deleted their account.
Yeah.
It was posted 4 years ago, but
Still
spooky.
spooky.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
almost as spooky as we were doing the unbinding video and your video froze when we were talking about Mokosh.
yeah, I know, right? Dang. Alrighty. Well, if anyone knows anything about mimicry demon stuff and other spooky stuff, definitely share with us. Let us know any sort of related things that you've heard that are pretty interesting and spooky. I'd love to talk about this sort of subject a little bit more. We're definitely going to have to look into these sorts of things more. That's for sure.
Yep.
Um, but I guess that does it for this one. Definitely like, subscribe, comment, and just let us know what you're thinking of as far as like, do you have any idea of anything like this? Mimic demons? Maybe it was something else, some sort of skinwalker, or something spooky and different. Just let us know what your theories and thoughts. Would love to hear it.
Any more information would be dope because this is pretty crazy and pretty creepy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, the comments, there was several
Yeah.
people. They're like, "Yeah, I've experienced this sort of thing." It's like, what? What do you mean
Yeah.
you've experienced this sort of thing?
Like I don't think I've ever experienced anything like this.
Yeah, no. The closest thing I experienced was seeing an apparition of someone, and it definitely wasn't them. But that, like I said when I've explained that story, it was more so of like a poltergeist type thing. So like it really didn't feel like it was something mimicking. It just felt like it was some sort of weird energy buildup, and I saw that person.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, who knows? I mean, because, yeah, you have your poltergeist stuff, which is just this kind of weird buildup of energy and stuff like that. I think that it's just like there's this whole world that we can't see, and
Yeah.
it just gets manipulated in different ways by different things, and it comes out in some sort of way.
Hmm.
Definitely fascinating, that's for sure.
Yeah. Definitely. I would have to agree 100 times with you.
But even though it's fascinating, be careful because this stuff is spooky.
Yeah. And we don't know the consequences of dealing with things like
Exactly,
this.
because who knows if that dude or girl, I don't know who, I couldn't tell if the user that they
Yeah.
deleted their account. I don't know if they were a boy or girl. But if they went to like go actually greet their mom and didn't like figure out that something was wrong and leave, if they were like, "Where are you?" and kept like going into the darkness, who knows what would have happened? Maybe nothing, extreme or Hollywoodified, but some sort of consequence that you wouldn't
Yeah.
want. So.
Might have seen something interesting.
Exactly. Exactly. Alrighty. Well, until next time, thank you for journeying with us into the not so fictitious dark.
Fruitious.
Yep, exactly.